In today's video, I interview Shawn Bell, a Facebook marketing guru and Century 21 owner in Lloydminster, Canada. Shawn's been working in real estate since 2004 and became part owner of his Century 21 franchise in 2012. Shawn's consistently ranked in the top 1% of all Canadian agents several years in a row now through his intimate knowledge of Facebook ads. As we head into 2021, with all of the changes to Facebook advertising over the last couple of years, I asked Shawn, are they still relevant? And if so, what is the best way to utilize them today? We also talk about how much money agents need to spend to see results. I asked him for examples of successful ads that he runs, and we discussed the follow-up and nurturing process with Facebook leads and the numbers to track to measure success. What's going on, everyone? I'm Kyle Handy, a realtor and team leader here in San Antonio, Texas. I help teach other realtors, team leaders, and brokers how to grow and scale their real estate business through digital marketing, content creation, and social media. And if you want proven strategies that you can use to get more leads, closings, and scale your team, you'll love this video. Keep watching. Also, if you're currently running Facebook ads for your real estate business or are thinking about getting started, you're going to get tons of value from this video. Shawn doesn't hold anything back. All right, without further ado, let's jump right into the interview. All right, well, I am here with Shawn Bell. He is a realtor and owner of Century 21 Drive in Lloydminster, on basically right at the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan, Canada. About 2.5 hours east of Edmonton, if I remember correctly. And I know that you're a husband and father of 2 boys. They love to play hockey. In fact, we were just talking, and you got a couple hockey games to go to this weekend. And also, I know you said your passion is travel, which is very similar to mine. And you've been in the real estate business longer than I have, 16 years, I think, in total. And for the last 8 is how long you've been a partner of that Century 21 that you have. And so anyways, I know that you're also a top agent. You're in the top 1% of Century 21 agents there in Canada. So kudos to you, man, that you're crushing it. I am excited to have you, and I'm excited for you to share kind of your story. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Shawn.
Well, first off, thanks for having me. Not everybody wants to have me for an interview, so you're the poor sap that has to have me today. But yeah, I'm basically, like you said, I've been in this 16 years. I kind of fell into real estate. It wasn't my long-term goal. When I was younger, I did not think I was going to be in real estate. I was very tech-orientated, computer-minded. I took computers apart. I rebuilt them. I actually worked as a computer tech for a year when I got out of school. I thought it was going to be a computer nerd is what I thought I was going to be. And as time went on, I kind of realized maybe not what I wanted to do. I was going to go to schooling for it. And then I had some family in the business. So I got into real estate. And yeah, the rest is history. So from there, I just that's how I built my business. Is I've kind of married the two together. So if you do see my YouTube channel, that's exactly what it's based off of, is using technology to better yourself in real estate. And that's kind of where that came from. I mean, going way back, I was a farm boy, grew up on a farm with cattle, and yeah, it's kind of weird. I moved to the city. We're a small city, and got into real estate, and that's where I am today. Have a wife, like I said, you said 2 kids, and that's pretty much our life now. We're hockey every weekend. We're Canadian, and we love our hockey. So yeah, it's a busy world, but I wouldn't change it for anything. We love it.
I love it. I love it. Well, really cool. I mean, obviously I've visited your channel. You've got an amazing YouTube channel, and kind of in the beginning stages. I think you're like, not a whole lot of people know about you yet, but they need to. And so certainly check out Shawn Bell's channel on YouTube, because one of the things that he focuses on, I think he does an amazing job with it, is not just technology, but even more specifically, Facebook ads. And that's something that I know is a huge, huge topic of conversation amongst our real estate agent friends and colleagues. And so I really want to ask you some good questions regarding Facebook ads that you can share with my audience. And then of course, if they want more information or detailed information, you've got all sorts of great tutorials, and you go into depth with these different topics. So real quick, on the first question, this is, kind of something that's always on my mind, is, we're in 2020, going into 2021 here soon. And there's been so many changes with not only just Facebook, but also Facebook ads, and what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. Give me the current state of Facebook ads, and are they still worth it for real estate agents right now?
For sure. Definitely anybody who does question Facebook ads, I say give them a chance. Do Facebook ads. We have amazing results. I mean, I can show them to you. I can show you all the stats, everything, and they really do work. Lots of people think, you hear a lot saying Facebook ads don't work. And unfortunately, the people that have not put the time into it, yeah, they don't work. You see a lot of people posting ads on there where it's just house for sale, or, what's your home worth? And they run that for a bit and they go, well, this didn't work. Well, yeah, I'm sorry to say it didn't, because you just didn't know how to run it the right way. So, I mean, we can get into that in a bit later, but to your question, because I'm veering off, is basically now with Facebook ads, they are making changes. There is changes through Facebook all the time. The most recent one, which would be, oh, I can't even remember. That must be a year ago now or so, where they came in with a special ad category. So now with a special ad category, you have to check that if you're running any of these ads. So if you've got any ads for housing, employment, credit, and then since all this, all the big political, social issue blow up stuff that happened in the US, they brought in another category that if you're doing any social issues or political stuff, you have to check that box as well. So now when I have members in my group that we do run, where I teach them how to run different Facebook ads, some of my new members, they actually had to do a ID verification. So when they came on, they had to take a picture of their driver's license. They had to send that in. They'd get something mailed to them. It would be a code. So it was a bit of a process, about a week to get their Facebook ad account set up. And there's always little changes like that that are happening. But to me, a lot of people, it turns them off from it. And I love it. Every time Facebook makes a change, I love it, because the big reason is, to put it mildly, 90% of you, when that change comes, you're going to give up. You're going to stop using Facebook ads and you're going to say, this doesn't work anymore. They're making it too hard. I don't want to do this. And because of that, that makes greater opportunity for myself and other realtors who are figuring out what they need to do now, because there's less competition. So the way Facebook ads works is, when you have less competition, you're going to be paying less for an ad to get a certain amount of leads than what you would if there was 10,000 people competing against you, if there's just only one of you in your area. So my advice to everybody, changes do happen. They always come about. Don't get discouraged, because it's in your best interest that they do have those. It really weeds out the competition.
I love that. Even more so than just the Facebook answer, I think that really speaks to kind of the mindset that you have, and that, you actually embrace change that comes about because you look at it as an opportunity. And, I see that stuff happen in my space on kind of the blogging side of things as well, with, Google updates and algorithm changes. And it's so interesting because I look at it the same way. It's like, hey, when they make a change, there's so many other blogs, so many other people that aren't going to do anything to optimize or go back and change anything. But the ones that go and they understand first, what the changes are, and then how to, take advantage of it, you can really gain some ground and some momentum that you wouldn't have if things just stayed stagnant. And so it's a great point that you make about Facebook ads. And I mean, yeah, it takes extra work on your part, to be up with all of the changes and whatnot. But if you do that, you certainly can really get an opportunity and gain an advantage. So great answer. I love that. The other question that I got is, let's assume somebody's like, yeah, you know what? I'd like to do Facebook ads, or I just started Facebook ads. What are some expectations that you set with agents as far as how long it takes for them to really see some results?
Basically, any members in the group that we have, or other realtors I'm trying to help through this, we do what's kind of called a testing phase off the start, where we're running different ads here and there just to see which ones perform better. Because ads that I run in my community may get different results than what you run in your community because our population sizes are so much different. You're in the US, I'm in Canada. There's just different little things that can come into play. So, if it was you, I'd say, well, Kyle, you run this ad for a bit, see how it works, see what kind of results you get. Then let's run a different one, see how that works. And I mean, we have members that are getting results right away. You run an ad, and usually I run mine for in the testing phase just to run it for a week to see how it works. You get leads right away. I mean, we had one member where they ran an ad, and their first week they had, I think it was around 20 leads. So they got on the phone, contacted those leads, and vetted them, and had some people that raised their hand and said, "Yeah, we want you to keep us open for us on a house. And when one's ready, we're going to go look." And that's the whole idea. I mean, these are not expensive. Some of these ads we're running are $50. To me, $50 to run an ad for a week, and you get those leads. If you convert one of those leads, I don't have my calculator with me right now, but tell me what the return on investment is there on $50. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's actually kind of a great segue into my next question, which is, like, what do you tell agents as far as, what they should expect to spend for a starting out, kind of advertising campaign on Facebook as far as, maybe monthly spend, what do you recommend there?
For sure. And so Facebook does the odd time that changes. I think right now I'd have to double check, but I think there's a minimum. It's like, if you run it for a week, it's like $35, $40. But I always like to use 50 as just kind of a baseline. It's a good amount. It's a round number. And yeah, just test it for a week. Awesome. So say you test one for a week and it's like, well, I got 20 leads. You do another one, next one, well, I got 10 leads out of that one. Next one, maybe I got 5. I run another one, I got 30. From there, once you have a good idea of how your market is performing, then you're going to know, okay, this one performed the best. I'm going to double down on it now. And some people, it just all depends on your budget. That's what I love about Facebook ads is it's not like a lead generation company where you have to spend so much a month. With a lead generation company, it's like, you have to pay us $1,000 a month and whatever. Some of them, I think you sign a contract and here, that's your budget every month. So you're having to spend that every month. With Facebook ads, 1 month, if you want to spend $1,000 and get a lot of leads, you can. If another month you only want to spend $50, you can do that. Maybe you're going on a vacation for 2-3 weeks and you don't want to have that running and replying to leads as they're coming in. You can turn it off. So there's so much more freedom with Facebook ads. You're really in control of your own lead generation versus being tied to a lead generation company where you got to keep paying that all the time and you have no control over it.
Right. And now I know too, you said obviously it depends on people's market and there's a lot of factors that go into, creating a successful Facebook ad campaign, but you've obviously seen a lot of agents, run campaigns. You've probably managed a lot of campaigns for both yourself and for other agents. So you kind of probably at least have some ideas or some best practices as the types of advertisements that people run. So maybe you could share with us like what type of ads you commonly would suggest people start out with, and give us maybe like an example or an example or two of like a specific type of ad. Like, what are the like, are you targeting, like homes with pools or homes on or like how specific you get with your ads? So share a little bit about that.
For sure. No, great question. So basically most of the ads, the easiest ones are buyer ones. Now I know that's not what a bunch of you want to hear right now, because I know you're definitely heavy in a seller's market. You can get the seller lead still, but I'll kind of explain the difference between the two. So with the buyer ones, basically we're running list of homes. So you're trying to provide something of value to the customer in return for them providing you their name, their number, and their email address. So you're running, and we like to get very specific on this because the more, usually you get more specific, the better. So for example, if you're just running a list of homes in San Antonio, usually you're not going to get as good of results because it's just like, well, anybody says, well, I can go online and I can search that myself. So if you're just giving me a list of homes for San Antonio, I mean, that's going to be a big list too. Why would I want that? But if you really narrow it down and say, here's a list of homes in this neighborhood with a pool, under 300,000, now you're going to get some traction. So the big idea here is you find a neighborhood that is popular, that people like. I always recommend find the average price range there and go below it. So say the average price of a home there is 350, and you run this list and saying, here's a list of homes under 300. Now you've got my attention because I'm going, oh, I really like that neighborhood. That's a nice neighborhood. I did not realize you could get a house for under 300,000 there. Yeah, I'm going to click on that and see what you got. Now, you don't want to, I like to think we're pretty open. You don't want to, how do I say this? You don't want to bait people. You don't want to,
Right. Like,
you don't want to have clickbait on there where you say, here's a list of homes with a pool under 300, and they click on it and there's one, and it's maybe run down and it's demented.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You're going to actually get worse results if you do that, because people are going to be like, okay, you just made me click on this to give you my name and number. I do not respect you and I will not reply to you. Don't do that. So you need to find that list that actually has a decent amount. Now I am a smaller community. We're only 30,000 people here. I can still do this. So if you have a smaller community, don't say you can't do this, because you can. I still am able to find neighborhoods where I might have, because we're a smaller community, 5 is a good amount. Now, if you go to San Antonio, 5 maybe not going to be a good amount because it's just a bigger population. So it just all depends on your city size to make sure you have a good amount. So that is usually the buyer ads that we find perform the best. And I always do say to try to figure out your market and what's, call it hot there right now, or what's on everybody's mind. So for where we are right now, if you look outside, there's a bunch of snow, unfortunately. Just over a week ago, we had sun. It was warm. There was no snow. On the weekend, all of a sudden, we got a bunch of snow. So imagine if I ran an ad right then saying, here's a list of homes with a heated garage under this price range. Now people, as they're shoveling snow off their cars, scraping ice off it, they see this ad, they're going to be like, yeah, that would be really nice. Cool if I didn't have to, shovel snow off my vehicle every day. Or maybe if it's in San Antonio, it's when, May or June rolls around, and that's when you're hitting them up saying, here's a list of homes with a pool, because it's getting so dang hot, and everybody's like, oh yeah, now I want a house with a pool. So it's just catering to that. You'll find little things like that are going to get your best results. One other example is we ran a list one time of foreclosed homes. We're in a recessed market right now. We have been for the last 6 years. And when we ran that list of foreclosed homes, that one just blew up because everybody had it on their mind. They knew there was foreclosures and they wanted those lists. They wanted to know what foreclosed homes were out there. I think we spent $50 on that one, and we had 263 leads out of just that one ad, which is just mind-boggling. So if you can hit it at the right time, you're going to have your funnel full for sure.
Yeah.
Now on the seller side of things, I always do caution people, those do come at a higher cost. Your buyer leads are going to be cheaper than what your seller leads are. Your seller leads are always going to be higher. You could just reverse engineer it with sellers and do the same thing and say, here's a list of homes that have recently sold in this neighborhood over the past 3 months. Click on this ad, and they'll click on it because if they're thinking about selling, they're going to want to know what their neighbor's houses sold for. So you could just even word it as simple as saying, what did your neighbor's home sold for? Click here for a list of homes that have recently sold. And those will be a lot higher quality leads because they're a seller. And if they're taking the time to click on that ad, they're going to be more high quality. Now you're going to have less leads, remember that, but if that's what you're going after, then that could work very well.
That's awesome. And I assume that when you're talking about like these lists that you're sending people to, like once they sign up, are you using kind of like a dynamic list that's maybe hooked up to like your MLS or an IDX feed, I assume? Is that's kind of what you're doing? Or
for sure. So you can have it for, if your MLS can do it, you can do a save search. A save search works the best, where you could just email the link to yourself. And then when you set up that ad in Facebook, it says, okay, when somebody puts in their information in this form, and they click the download button or however you want it, you can change it in Facebook to say sign up, download, more info. And when they click on it, where do you want to redirect them to? And that's where you can put that link in there, and it'll open up that save search for them. For the people that do not have that ability, where their MLS is maybe a little more outdated, you could do something as simple as take that list of homes, put it in a document, and save it to Google Drive, save it to Dropbox. And when they click on it, just have it as a shareable link, and that'll open that up for them as well. So there, you can do it a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And the reason why I asked that is just because I find on the buyer side, definitely having that dynamic list is convenient. That way you don't have to constantly update them. Like here in San Antonio, our homes are probably gone in, 3 days to 7 days sometimes, like right when they're listed. So you'd constantly want to have to, procure that list. And then on the seller side, like, you bring up a good point. That one doesn't, and especially here in San Antonio, like our MLS, or specifically my website that's hooked up through KV Core, which is like an IDX feed, doesn't show sold properties. But in that event, it's actually okay to maybe make a list, because that's not going to change as much. You might be adding some to them, but a property that sold a month ago is still relevant to somebody looking to sell their home. So if you have to curate and make your own list that you email to people on the seller side, perfectly fine. On the buyer side, you can do the same thing, but it's really nice if you've got an IDX feed that you can hook that link right into that download or sign up button that you were mentioning. So cool. I appreciate that, Shawn. The other thing that I was curious of now, because I know you're on Instagram as well, do you ever run any of your Facebook ads over to Instagram, or have you in the past? And what's kind of your experience there?
Yes, we have. So the beauty of it is, because they're both owned by the same now, Facebook does translate over into Instagram. So when you are setting up a Facebook ad, it'll actually give you an option saying, do you want to run this on Instagram as well? And then it just has you select what account you want to run it on, and it'll run it. So if you've ever went through Instagram and you're watching people's stories, then all of a sudden you get an ad pop up. That's where you'll see those, or sometimes in your feed, you'll see an ad, and that's where those come from. They're setting that up in Facebook. So same thing. It's all about testing, test, and see, look at your analytics and see where you're getting the best results. In my market, it's still a Facebook town. I like to think like we're kind of usually where we are, we're kind of behind the times with people. So a lot of it is still Facebook. There's not as many people that are in Instagram. So when I run a bunch of ads all the time, I would run it on both. And it was probably like 90% of my leads came from Facebook, if not higher. And that 10% came from Instagram. So once I figured that out, I stopped Instagram and I just doubled down on Facebook. But in your market, wherever you're watching, it could be the total opposite. It could be more Instagram. So you just want to run both off the start and test. And yeah, through Facebook, when you download your list of leads, it'll tell you right in there saying if this lead came from Facebook or Instagram.
Yep, that makes sense. Very cool. And now we all know that, generating the lead is kind of that's the first step in the process. Now, can you speak a little bit more too, as far as like what your follow-up sequence or kind of your nurturing process is with leads that you're generating from Facebook?
For sure. So the biggest thing right off the start is when a lead comes in, message them immediately. Don't wait 2 hours. Don't wait a day. You're probably going to lose that lead. You need to message them immediately, because it's human nature. We're all the same way. When we're in a certain mode and it's like, hey, I want to look at this, you're looking at it maybe in the next hour. An hour from now, your kid could distract you or something else comes up and you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm not really interested in that anymore. And that's when you stop. So the longer you wait is when you get less results. This thing is literally always with us. So it always, I'm sorry, but it boggles my mind when lots of us as realtors cannot reply to stuff right away. It is so dang easy. It's not like it was years ago where you had to rush to find a phone to make a call to somebody. This thing's in our hand. I could be at my kid's hockey game and I could have a lead come in and I can reply to them while still watching my kid's hockey game. I mean, to me, that's amazing. Like, I can still be with my family, yet I can still quickly reply to a lead. But still, there's 90% of you that are not doing this. So if we need to have a little reality check, it's get back to those leads immediately. It is so easy. And it's going to, if you put in that time, you're going to have a lot better results and you're going to get a lot more business from it. So we've actually, because I do this for our realtors in our office, I generate the leads for them. I don't take any of the leads myself because like you said, I'm a part owner here. I was replying to all these leads all the time. And it did get to be a lot. And I mean, we're all busy. So what I did to try to better it is we hired another company, Verse.io. And what happens is all those leads go to them and they vet them and they message them, they reply to them. So you can do the same. You don't have to hire a company to do this. I'm just trying to give you an example of the two. With Verse, they're relentless and they're great at it. They will message a lead right away. If they don't respond to them, they'll message them again, maybe could be 15 minutes later, 30 minutes later. So when they actually get a hold of a lead, they'll send you a report and it'll show you exactly what they messaged that lead and what the lead responded with. So it'll show you their whole text message history, their email history. And my biggest advice is just don't give up. I've seen too many of us, I was guilty of this too. You try to get a hold of a lead 2 or 3 times and you go, they're not interested, I give up. We've had some leads come in through this company and they've messaged them 12 times sometimes before the person actually gets back to them. And then the person isn't angry. They actually say, oh, I'm sorry, I've just been busy. Yes, I do want you to look for houses for me. So they're still turning into a customer. If we had stopped messaging them, then they would just eventually, they would have went off somewhere else because it's all about being top of mind. They could speak to you today. If you do not follow up with them 6 months from now, they're going somewhere else because they forgot about you. So first off, you need to keep messaging them. Without being, I'm not a pushy person. I mean, just be genuine about it. Be nice. You don't have to be that pushy sales type person. Just keep messaging, see if you can get a hold of them. Once you do get a hold of them, keep talking to them. I mean, just keep having conversations with them. I always recommend to everybody, provide them value. Down the road, if there's something you know they might be interested in or something sold, update them on it. Send them a quick video. I use BombBomb. Send them a BombBomb video and say, hey, just wanted to let you know this house sold. And I know you're looking for houses like this. So this will give you a good idea of where the market's at and what you might be paying for a house like this. Here's its sold price. Or maybe once a month you take those leads and you're sending them market updates. Just keep being in front of them, keep staying in touch. It's like anything with social media. If you're top of mind, you're going to win. If you think, I don't need to do that today and I'm just going to leave it, they're eventually going to forget about you and you're going to forget about them and you're going to lose them. So you need to do that follow up because you can generate these leads. And if you don't follow up, you're just unfortunately wasting your money.
That's right. Yeah. And you mentioned Verse.io, and actually I've heard of that. I think, in fact, they may have been called Agentology way back when. I don't know if that's the same company or not, but I had used Agentology I loved it. I thought it was this was when I was generating probably 400 or 500 leads a month. So, I mean, we needed something and I didn't feel like training my own inside sales agent. So we hired them and they did an amazing job with the leads. Now, can you, real quick, I wasn't planning to ask this question, but since you kind of talked about it, do you know more recently, like what the cost of that is? And if there's any like prerequisites, like if you have to have X amount of leads generating per month or do they pay per lead or per month? How does that work?
For sure. So they do their 500 US a month. I don't know if they have different plans, but the plan we were on was 500 US a month, and that's up to 100 leads. So if you go over 100 leads, then it's $6 a lead after that.
Gotcha.
So it's it works out to, it's pretty much the same. And it's just, I'd say if you're starting out, don't overwhelm yourself. Just start out simple. Do this. You can do this yourself. You don't have to spend a pile of money. If you get to the point where you're like Kyle was, where you got that many leads coming in a month, it might be something you want to check into, because again, if Verse can qualify one more lead a month than what you can, to me, is that not worth it? That $500? Absolutely. So
that's right.
To check into. But when you are first starting out, I do recommend to people, I don't want you to spend all your money, because you might just eventually run out of money and get frustrated. And that's not the point here. We don't want that to happen to you. So start off, do it on your own, get where you're comfortable and you got enough leads coming in and this works. And then from there, if you need to step it up to a company like that, then give her.
That's great advice. And and that brings us to kind of the last question here, which I mean, it's all about return on investment. I think that's what everybody's looking at. Like, hey, am I going to be wasting my money, or am I going to be, spending money that's going to eventually return me, a greater return than what I'm spending? And so, I don't know if you know these numbers off the top of your head, or at least, some ballpark figures, just to give people that are getting into this, like, a guideline, like what to kind of maybe shoot for. But if you wouldn't mind sharing kind of the numbers side of it, as far as what you look for, specifically, whether it's, conversion ratios, like what are you averaging on a conversion ratio from like a lead to a closing, but then also, like, maybe cost per lead. And I know sometimes cost per lead can vary by area, but in general, just give people, kind of a ballpark as far as what you typically look for.
For sure. Yeah, they do vary quite a bit. Because if you look at that one ad that I ran where I said we did foreclosure homes, we were cents. Like, I can't remember. It was ridiculous. It was like so many cents a lead. But on average, when I'm seeing everybody else, so that's best case scenario. Don't go by that.
Right.
But when you go by to more like an average, usually I would say ours we see probably in that $2 to $4 range, depending on what type of ad you run. As you do more in your market and you know which ones are getting the results, you're going to see that cost go down. So you may be a bit higher off the start, and then you may be able to get that down more around the $2 after some time. Then from there, what I found, it really does come down to the realtor itself, because we have, you see some where they could generate a bunch of leads. And like I was saying before, if there's not the follow up, then you're not really going to have a very good conversion rate. Whereas you get somebody else that's constantly talking to people, then yeah, it turns out really good. So it's kind of a hard figure to figure out, because most of these leads, if you get somebody who's willing to buy today, that's like a gold mine. That's very rare. A lot of these people, they're kind of in the mindset now and they're starting their search, and it may be a year, it could be 2 years before they actually buy something. So I guess I'm kind of short on that. I haven't figured out the exact percentages, because some of these people do buy, a year or two down the road, and that's just fault of mine. I'm not as much of a numbers guy that way, so I don't really track it. But I do know, from other members in our group that, I mean, if you get, if you spend that $50 and say you get 20 leads, our one person, those 20 leads, they were able to get in touch with 8 of those. And out of 8 of those, I think took 1 or 2 of those people out showing houses.
Nice.
So again, yeah, whatever that percentage works out to, hopefully that gives you a little better idea. And
Yeah.
again, it's just all up to that realtor, because that person did a bang up job of follow up and getting a hold of people. You could have took those same leads and give it to somebody else, and it could have been zero.
Right. Right. Well, that's where, I think sometimes, as agents, we kind of underestimate the lifetime value of a client. And so, we take at face value for like what maybe a closing is worth. And then that might take a year for that closing, like, to your point. And what we don't understand or realize is that, and we may not even, sometimes categorize this down the road. Like I was guilty of this when we started closing deals. We would close a Facebook lead, and then 6 months, 8 months later, we'd get a referral from that Facebook lead, which we would categorize as a referral. But if we didn't get that Facebook lead in the beginning, we wouldn't have gotten either one of those deals. And so I think the real power in this is long term. You can't be thinking short term for Facebook. You are building your database with these leads. They are real people that if you do the work, you put the work into it, that they will produce you a meaningful return on investment. I mean, it is kind of hard to put that number on it, but it is there. I mean, I can definitely attest to it. And then long term, it certainly is there, because you'll get people that, yes, like you said, it's very rare that they close in 1 month or they're ready to buy something in 1 month, but you
Right.
get many that are going to be ready in 6 months, 8 months, a year. And then all those results start stacking on top of each other. So I think that's a great point you bring up. But
It's kind of like you're building your funnel, and it's just, I mean, you're starting to feed the auger, and eventually down the road, you're going to get to a point where this is kind of steady, and you keep doing that same process. And everybody watch my channel know I'm huge on the word consistency. You keep being consistent, And that's where things will happen. I like how you said the lifetime value, because I mean, that's something that's always stuck with me. That thing I heard years ago was saying, you know, take care of your pennies, look after your pennies, and the dollars will follow. And that happens a lot, where lots of people are thinking, well, I need to sell that $1 million property. I need to get out there. I need to sell that. But I mean, that might be a one and done one if you ever do get it and you spend so much time trying to get it. Whereas if you get the one that's $100,000 now and they're a first time home buyer, and guess what? They upgrade 4 times throughout their lifetime. All of a sudden, your value for that versus what that $1 million one is way further ahead. And you had a customer for life who really respects you and is going to refer you to more people. That's where, yeah, it makes complete sense.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Shawn, hey, you dropped so many great nuggets here for the people watching this video here, and I definitely want them to be able to, get more information from you. And so to go check out your channel, which again, it's Shawn Bell. You just search YouTube for it, and then also you are on Instagram. I don't know if that's your preferred method for somebody if they wanted to reach out and send you a message, but if they're looking for you, you're C21 Shawn Bell on Instagram, correct?
Yes, yeah. So probably the best two for realtors is go to the YouTube page. If you do search Shawn Bell, you'll see my picture right now. It's me holding my phone up is the logo, because you do apparently Shawn Bell is a little bit of a popular name, so you might see some searches with I think a guy in New York that was killed, stuff like that. So that's not me. You can find me the other way. And then on Instagram, yes, at C21 Shawn Bell, and I'm providing tips on there all the time. Different things you can do as a realtor to better your business. So make sure to go check that out, YouTube. And then, like I said, again, this thing is always with me. So if anybody has any questions, whether it be through YouTube, Instagram, message me anytime and I will get back to you.
I love it. And Shawn, real quick too, you'd mentioned a course or like a group that you have. How do people find out more information about that? And can you share a little information there?
For sure. If they did want to find out more, usually the best step off the start is I do have a free guide that I offer everyone, and it's my Facebook lead ad checklist. And on that PDF, it walks you through step by step on how to actually set up a Facebook ad. So if you did want to go more in depth, you can go check that out. You can find them on my YouTube page. So anywhere you go in there, if you click on any of my videos, most of them, and go in the description, it'll have the link right there to get that guide. And I believe it's shawnbell.ca/Facebook ad checklist. If you did want to just type that in there, you'll get the guide. And from there, once you get the guide, it'll give you a chance to sign up for one of my webinars that I have lots of webinars. And on the webinar, it'll show you kind of exactly how everything works and what we're doing, and explains a little bit more about the course. And then from there, if you're interested, it'll invite you to book a call with me. And what I do is I interview everybody. I want to make sure they're fit for the program. I don't want just anybody in the course, because if we do that, it's just not going to be a good fit and we're not going to get good results, and I'm going to get terrible reviews, to be honest. So we want to make sure it's somebody that's actually willing to put in the time. This is a fit for them. They need the leads. So I do an interview to make sure. And then from there, we kind of go over everything on the call.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, and I'll be sure to put all the links in my description as well as to what you just had mentioned. So that way, if you want, you can pull up his YouTube channel, his guide there, and then also get more information from Shawn. So Shawn, I really appreciate you, having you on the call here today, and obviously, wish you much success in your business, and we'll be staying in touch, I'm sure. But thank you again for all that you've done here on the call.
And thanks so much, Kyle, and I appreciate everyone watching. I love doing this stuff. I love teaching, and it means a lot to me when you guys are tuning into channels like Kyle's. And make sure you go give him a like on all his videos too. It's a lot of time he's putting into this. So thanks, Kyle, and for having me here.
Absolutely, Shawn. Well, hey, take care and talk to you soon.
You too.
There you have it, some massive tips for generating real estate leads through Facebook ads from the master himself, Shawn Bell. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel right now. Just click on the subscribe button below this video. Also, hit that thumbs up button and give this video a like, as it helps my videos reach more real estate agents looking to grow and scale their business. Finally, if you want exclusive real estate agent training that I only share with my email subscribers, head over to kylehandy.com and hop on my email newsletter. It's free. And once you've done that, go check out Shawn's YouTube channel. Shawn has a library of helpful real estate agent training videos, including many more on Facebook ads. Also, go follow Shawn on Instagram and shoot him a message letting him know the value you received from this interview. And now I want to turn it over to you. What questions do you still have about generating real estate leads with Facebook ads in 2021? Are you currently running Facebook ads, or do you plan to? Let me know by leaving a comment below. Until my next video, be well and get out there and sell some homes.